this off, and I'm going to do a rail revolve. I need to have it follow the shape of the stone. So I'm going to extract an isocurve. And I'm going to offset this curve, top C-plane. Remember, offset is always C-plane dependent. Through point, and catch the end of this curve. Alright, now it's hit it this way, but it's not hitting it up and down. I'm going to need to move it. So I'm going to use quad snap and move it down to end. I want to make sure it didn't shift, so I'm going to go to the top C-plane, top viewport. I'm going to undo, Control Z, redo, Control Y. It didn't move from here, which means it stayed in the same place. If I do it in the perspective viewport, you can see the movement. But the fact that it didn't shift from side to side or back and forth is clear there in the top viewport. So I'm going to do a rail revolve. Right click, select profile, select rail. Try again. Profile, rail, start of rail axis is 0, hold shift key, and there we go. That's going to be a fairly difficult surface mathematically, so I'm going to, if I turn on the points, you'll see it has an inconsistent point layout. I'm going to rebuild it. 361033 should be fine. And I'm going to go ahead and lock that so I don't keep selecting it. I'm going to offset this surface for a thickness. Try 0.8. That looks pretty good. Get me a cutting plane here. Use it to trim off the tops. Move it down. Use it to trim off the bottom. Eventually this will have the contour of the ring bore, but for now I just want to trim it flat. The inside of this cup is not very important to what we're doing. Let me see how bad the math looks. It's a little strange. Okay. So I'll move this up in and use it to trim that away as well a little bit. And I'm going to try and make these into a solid. Go ahead and turn off that background bitmap for a minute, or that picture frame. I'm going to put these drawing curves on a hidden layer and planar surface. Trim it with this interior. Join these three together and do a loft between this edge and this edge. Join those together. And that works. Okay. So I have the bowl that my pattern is going to take place on. Now I need to figure out how I'm going to do it. And it looks like the designer didn't really count this out very well when he did it. So I would like to be able to see it while I'm working. So I'm going to actually take this. I can move it up or down, it doesn't matter. I'll go ahead and move it up. lock it again. This way I can see that spacing pretty well. Okay. I need to divide the rim of this into those segments. And I see there being, I'll just try it. I'm going to extract a curve, duplicate edge, go to my point, tool pop out, right click for number of segments. I want to type in the double number of what I think I'm going to need. So if I think I want 8, I'm going to type in 16. Okay, so there's 16. But if I do 16 and this is centered up, you can see by extracting an isocurve, point snap, that's really fat for what I'm trying to create. So I think 8 is not good. I think I'm going to try 10. So I'll type in 20 and extract my isocurves. I think that more closely reflects what the designer had in mind. I go around and click on every other point. Okay, now the problem ends up being that 10 does not divide well around this piece. So I'm going to really need to go back to the 8 even though it's too wide, which is going to change the design, which is why I'm doing a maquette. So back to 16. I can't do 9 to 18 because 9's an odd number and will most certainly cause me trouble. Every other one. Okay. So those will be the divisions going around my box. I need to put a notch to cut this piece out at the top. So I'm going to go into my front view or my front C-plane. I'll go into my front view. Turn off the stone. And draw a line. Project it to C-plane. Here, mirror it with history. Actually, that looks pretty good. So I'll join it. And then I'll move it down in. Something like that's all right. I'm going to do an extrusion, both sides. I'm going to top C-plane. I'm going to move it forward till it cuts. Okay. I'm going to array this along curve. Transform, array, along curve. I'm going to select my path curve. And I want it number 8. Before I do that, I want to check my direction. Okay, that was good. So, once again, array along curve. Going to Boolean difference. Before I do that, I'm going to copy, paste, and hide, so I have a copy somewhere of that. Solid difference. Solid difference. Just checking to see if it would work. Now I'll do all of them. Okay, that looks good. I want to do something that cuts out the whole. And I want something that actually, I want to be able to get the notch up on here as well. So what I'm going to do, sorry for making you rewind a little bit, but it's worthwhile. I'm going to array along curve again, but this time I'm going to do 16. I'm going to grab every other one. And I'm going to move it up. Move the whole series up to where they're just nicking the top of this. I want to create this little notch. So I just want them to nick. I'm going to put them on a different colored layer. And now I'll go back and Boolean difference. And Boolean difference. Okay, that's very helpful. Now I want to create the opening in the front. I could make a nice little pear shape like that, so I may as well. Something like that is fine. And trim. Or fillets, even better. And rebuild these both. No, 9, 4 is fine. And then do a curve edit tools match. Pick the bottom edge here. I want it to average curves. Curvature's too much. Tangency's fine. If I wanted to control it even more, remember this is a maquette, so I'm not going to go crazy. I can grab these 2 points, which are in a straight line, and scale. You know, so, but that's certainly plenty. Take a look at this, see what I think. I think it needs to be scaled up a little bit. Something like that. Extrude. Both sides solid yes. Move it into position to where it cuts. And once again, array along curve. 8. Solid difference. that's enough to capture the basics for this basket. I am going to want to have a line on here for where the bottom of those scrolls takes place. And I see it being somewhere in there. The rest of these curves I can hide. In fact, I'll just turn off this and hide all of it. Oh, hang on. I do want... made a mistake here. I want these curves to stay on the drawing, on the part. So I will put them on the same layer as the basket. And the rest of these I can hide. So I've got that. And with that, I am pretty much done with the front piece. I need to bring this shank up in. Actually, so I still do need that front. Bring it back. This is a traditional ring, and I want it to come off of here in a soft shoulder. To make that happen, straight line across, somewhere in here. Use that to trim off this profile. Extend by arc to point. Something like that. Mirror that over. Join these pieces up. And offset. I'm going to offset it about 1.2. I'm going to offset this 0.9 for finger rest. I don't love what's happening here, so I'm going to offset this 1 millimeter or even less. And I'm going to non-uniform scale it. Nothing here, so 1. I'm going to do something like that. And this, I'm going to also non-uniform scale using quad. To get a little bit of flare there. Trim these off against each other. Join that together. Draw a straight line. Don't want those pieces. Join all this together. Going to extrude these to the width of the shank. Solid option, yes. Wireframe. Like so. Okay, that works. Designer has 3 flutes coming along this. Point tools, analyze, divide curve. Number of segments is 3. Point snap. Extract isocurve. Extract isocurve. Pick up the ends here. We can mirror these two over. I'm not going to want a center line on this. It's going to get confusing with those flutes. So I can take it off. I'm probably still going to want a center line side to side and top to bottom though, so I'm going to give myself those. Front C-plane, section, snap, grid snap, above and below, side to side. Bring in the basket. I need to now scallop out the bottom of that basket. Extrude straight, solid both sides. There, and Boolean difference. And copy and paste these, group them together, hide them. And Boolean union. There we go. Last thing I need to do is I need to put in my stone. I think that's a pretty good elevation. Guy said in the beginning, I think it's better to have this be up on prongs than to have this be a crenellated bezel. I think a crenellated bezel was going to cause real problems. So, I'm going to put beads on it. Prongs, sphere, mid, .9. And in this particular instance, I feel uneasy about what I'm trying to do here. So I'm going to cheat a little bit. Put a cutting plane. Put a cutting plane through the center of this. Trim the bottom of it off. And extrude it straight down. Join all this together and cap a planar hole. You'll notice I was picking separate surfaces. It's because when I cut this I ended up with a split edge, so I ended up with lots of surfaces going around. It's a maquette, I don't care, so I just kept on going. Mirror it, mirror it. I don't want those points anymore. Okay. Those should drop down enough to bite in. I'm not really going to want them to close up those holes, which is a design concern I'm going to have to deal with. Because if they come down very far at all, they are going to bite in there. maybe what I'll do is I'll just move this out a little bit. That bites in better. And then I will shorten it some. Control Shift. Control Shift. Grab those two edges and move them straight up until I'm confident they clear that hole. Yeah. Now do my mirroring. See, by doing this maquette this far, I've realized already some of the concerns that I might have. Those beads are really low. But I think actually what I'll do instead of raising the beads is lower the stone just a little bit. I like that. Okay. Copy, paste, group it all, hide it. And then Boolean union. Union. There's the finished maquette. Put a sphere in the middle. Rotate until I have a good view. In this case, what I really want to show is the fluted shank, the setting of situation, and these scallop shapes as they go around. That's really what I'm trying to show off. So I think that that would be a fairly nice angle. Just going to check and see. Now see, 2-point perspective in Rhino really doesn't work. It's unfortunate. So set it back up the way I want it. I want to see that fluted shank. I want to see this pattern. And remember, the pattern isn't based on this, it's based on the opening. So this is going to be the best pattern to see right here. Control A, dimension, make 2D drawing. Okay. Except for I made 4 views. I don't want 4 views. So I'm going to escape and undo. Control A, make 2D drawing. I want current view, only the current view. Group. Turn off the orange ball. Control A. Oh, hang on a minute. That's not what I expected to see. Control A. By the way, it's important to hit Control A because I have a lot of curves here that if I just click the model, I'm not going to catch, and I want those curves. Make 2D drawing. Current view. I hit current C-plane. That's why. There we go. Control G. Turn off the orange. Control A. Deselect this drawing. Make 2D drawing. Okay. Control G. Turn off. Go to the top C-plane. Top viewport. Draw my reference circle. Going to use quadrant here and do my orient 2 points. Scale 3D, copy no. Quad, quad, quad. Now I want you to see something. I'm not convinced that's accurate. I'm going to use different quads. I'm going to use a side quad and the side quad. Because where I was at, there's also a quadrant up here. They get very close. And I want to make sure it's accurate. Okay. And then to do this one, any two intersections will do fine. And delete the circle. Delete the drawing with the circle. And that's done. Okay. Now you can see what you have. You have your lines, you have your flutes, you have these openings, you have some strange pieces left over. Control-Shift-G. I'll trim up. The reason that's there is because I boolean the bottom, but that doesn't trim the lines out. I've got the hardware of the shank busting into here, which in the actual ring it wouldn't be there. So I'm going to delete that out of there as well. These I'm going to leave for now because they might be useful for me for references. So that's done. Group it back together again, put it on a different layer for a minute. Okay, top viewport's fine. Turn this on, select everybody, make 2D drawing. Four views. Okay. No. Try again. Getting all kinds of... I keep being in a hurry to get this over with for you guys and clicking on the wrong option. There we go. This would no longer be accurate, so I'll throw that away. Grab these, move them using center snap to the center of the drawing. Trim up anything that's unfortunate. It's not supposed to be there. Okay, that's okay. That's all good. One more thing I'm going to do, because it's going to get in my way in the technical drawing. I'm going to defacet the stone. In the orthographic views. Because the actual size, all these little lines will become very confusing to anybody looking at the drawing. Who is trying to follow the patterns of what's going on. Okay. It just takes a minute, and it's faster to clean it here than it is in Painter. Oops. Cleaning up that drawing, I realized that I had these little isocurves still extending up into the notches. Okay. This drawing, I can remove the facet lines or not remove the facet lines. I will remove them in this case. Okay. These pieces of the shank that you see won't be there. Okay. Which means that this window right here will show up here and here, even though you can't see it in this. You'll have to reconstruct it. And that's it. Bring back my 3/4 view. Draw box. And export to Illustrator. With the usual settings. And that's it. Thanks so much for watching.